Sorry for the delay getting going. Welcome, everyone, and thank you for joining us today for the SG REOT February update. We haven't had a full update, I believe, since back in the fall, and there's a few things that have happened, a few noteworthy things that we'll talk about today, and the least of not which is the sale of our Godridge property. So we'll cover that today. Just a few housekeeping things to get things going. It's kind of our normal start up just to make sure everybody's got our access to our information and understand the offering. Most of the people, of course, have probably been on these calls on before. One of the most important things is to know that even if you know of another investor and a unitholder that can't make the call today, these calls are recorded and then they're posted up to our portal, our investor portal, our unitholder portal that you originally used to access the investment and to create a profile to do your transaction. So my name is Doug Searson. I'm the one of the trustees and the president of the REOT. I've got Brett and Randy, who are also part of our GP group. I think I've got John Chung someplace, part of our GP group, but he's, I think, locked over in cyberspace right now. I have to go find him. And of course, Brett and Randy head up our sales and development team as well with GHD and Kingwell Fine Homes. That's got myself ahead there a little bit. There's our companies that are involved in the deal. You know, all of our back office is controlled in various operations by our GP group, and that is to try to maximize the efficiencies of everything that we do on your behalf when developing the properties. As most of you know, the investment fund itself is closed to new investors right now. It's in the sale process. As I mentioned, we've sold the property and we're selling homes now in Ingersoll. But it's a lot of moving parts. So we have a lot of moving parts that I just got to apologize, folks. I got somebody on with their mute off, and I'm just going to have to mute them. So I'm going to have to mute everybody. And that's not working. Sorry, folks. If you are, I've got Bojan and I've got a couple people. Your mute's off. James, John, just some people here with their microphones turned on. You can please turn those off. For some reason, my mute all button's not working. I think I got a couple in there. Okay. Sorry about that, folks. That's better. I think we got it. Brett and Randy, I'll have to unmute you manually and get up to you. So what's on the screen right now and where I left off is just the reminder of our two-tier system. The two-tier system is to protect our unit holders, protect the capital you've given us the privilege to use while we're building out and developing these properties. We have our independent trustees and we have our trustees that are related, of course, myself and Randy being on a group of trustees who are connected to the GP group, and then Scott Lockenbauer, Derek Nunn, and Christopher Wickens, who are independent trustees who do not have any ownership in the GP group. So the two-tier system is simply this. There's not one person that holds all the keys to the wallet. Not one person can just transact, or not one group can just transact. So every time we're moving money between the trust and the LPs, the underlying LPs for the properties, or we're having any major decisions being made or any major funding that's being done, the independent trustees always end up with the final vote to make sure that they are checking our current agreements and doing anything else that may need to be vetted. We got a lot of little technical things happening in the background today. I apologize. There's a message up that asking me to join another meeting. No idea why that's on the screen. I hope it's not on your screen. I'll just assume it's not. I can continue on. In the oversight aspect, and we've talked about this in our updates every time, when we have the outside service providers that are not related to our own companies, and of course perform various tasks. The two that are completely unrelated, of course, are BDO and Miller Thompson, our auditing firm for the trust, and our legal team that helps us from everything from structural advice. That's Miller Thompson Toronto, and our Miller Thompson in Guelph helps us to navigate all of the sales, be it the properties coming in or now properties being sold or part of our properties being sold off And then we have a company that's related to my Central Group offices, which provides the business service. That's the day-to-day books and records. Who's doing the entries, who's doing all the filings and keeping everything up to date on a daily basis. The REOT business plan, I'm happy to say after 3 years of our initial planning, maybe even going back 4 years ago, when we started to pull together properties and give consideration to soliciting our investors, and then now our unit holders that are here with us, hasn't really changed. We had two different aspects in mind. One was the geography, the location of where we were going to, and the other one was the types of homes that we would want to present. So all of the build outs were based on a smart, healthy, sustainable methodology. So you'll see that in our Ingersoll build. And if anybody's looked closely at it or looked at the homes that are up for sale, or sorry, it's up for sale, they've all sold out as well. Those are net zero ready homes. They're built with high quality materials and ultra efficient homes. So that was a very important thing for us when we started, as well as the geography. And now my slide deck's not moving forward. Technology is not my friend today, folks. Apologize. There we go. So the geography was important to us, and everybody who's invested with us has seen this martini glass. I'm not bringing it back up today just to repeat it. I really want to just show you is that, what we've seen with COVID, with that acceleration of the migration pattern, leaving Toronto, it's now flooding in many directions. It's flooding out east, west, north, south of Toronto, anywhere out of the GTA, and even London and Kitchener-Waterloo, Hamilton, anything that's got a market that's been swelling for the last 10 years. People have picked up and said, you know what, I've got a high-speed connection in this location I'm looking at. I've got a highway that gets there and back and forth. I have to travel. I can work from home because now I've been mandated to work from home. My job allows me to work from home. So I'm able to go to many, many places. But the one thing that we measured by was jobs, and the jobs are still plentiful through that Saugeen Shores, Port Elgin, Kincardine, and of course we've talked about it many times. That's based a lot on the Bruce Power Plant. Ingersoll, we'll talk about it in the update. When you get down the 401, it was just a natural pattern at the bottom of that baseline of the martini glass. So we're really, I think, proud to say that we stuck it. We stuck the landing. We had the right market, the right place, and we already had the momentum. We could see that momentum. We were riding the momentum. We could see our price increases just even prior to COVID really taking a grip on us. And then COVID's actually pushed more eyes on our properties and a little more competition out there because people are building now in a wider area. But certainly from a lifestyle perspective, our properties in Goderich and Southampton, Ingersoll and Hamilton are all excellent lifestyle choice properties. So that makes a big thing. And of course, we based, our searching for pieces of land, we always based on low rise, low risk methodology, that complements when people are moving outside of the community. We didn't want to build a development that was going to be a much more complicated, high risk development when we're using, of course, investor and unit holders' monies. So that's just a reminder to go right back to square one where we started and where we are today. So I'm going to transition over. I'm going to try and figure out how to unmute Brett and Randy and get them back in the conversation. And I'll look for John. So we're going to talk now about the project updates. And that's really the main focus today, is just to give you the high level where we're at. You've heard me say we've sold Goderich, we've sold out of Ingersoll, we've got movement going on in Hamilton with prices, and in Southampton we still have that swelling market up there with no shortage of jobs that are needed. The only thing short up in Southampton is people. They just need more people to be able to move up there, and it'll continue to grow. So give me 1 second here. I'm just going to try and get you Brett there and Randy, see if we get you guys back in the conversation. Let's just double check that. Brett, you there? Oh, Randy, are you there?
I'm here. I'm here.
Brett's back. Okay. All right. So we can talk about, we just kind of do a bit of a commentator talk here about our properties. We've got Spence Street, of course, is our first LP. That was LP number 1, and first property that we acquired by the funding from the trust. Brett, do you just want to talk about it? I mean, we've got lots of movement there. We've got lots that are going to be offered, of course, to the REOT investors as first right of refusal and being posted out. But why don't you just give us a once over, then I'm going to go look for John.
I saw John log in, but yeah, I'll talk in conjunction with what Randy has in terms of a update for servicing and that sort of thing. But you know, as with any good investment, we want to ensure that there's always multiple exit strategies. The one that we're approaching right now is that rather than building out the single family homes, that we sell the serviced lots. I'm not going to steal Randy's thunder in terms of saying when that'll be done, but as with all of our investments, we're offering these through the REOT to our unit holders, first and foremost, before anybody else gets to see these. So what we're doing is offering service lots. Lot 1 will be offered at $349,000 plus HST. And if someone wants it and bring their own builder, they can build it out. If they want King Fine Homes or one of our preferred builders to build it out, they can contract to do so as well. But yeah, we're going to offer these at the serviced lot stage, and feel that that would de-risk the fund, return capital to our unit holders that much earlier, and still make a great rate of return for anyone that's invested into the fund.
Welcome, John.
Andy, you want to talk about servicing?
I think.
Yeah, as far as servicing goes, everything remains on track from our previous updates. We are still working through the final design drawings and ECA applications. Once those are approved, we can tender servicing with the expectation that that tendering will happen in the spring. Construction to start early summer and have everything serviced and wrapped up, ready to build in the fall.
Maybe just to point out that, we've got the site plan up there, just the servicing and the sale and offering the lots for sale. We know that we've got the kind of the Spence Street Road, and then our servicing is going to service, if I'm correct, Randy, we're servicing those Spence Street Road ones first.
We'll actually be servicing pretty well everything at once. The original plan for us was to service the interior lots. In discussion with the town, they decided that that wouldn't give them enough security, because an internal condo road, you aren't required to put the full 100% security on it to build it. They're more concerned with Spence Street being the more expensive construction. They would like it to happen first. It makes most sense for us to do it all at once if that's the case. So we're pushing now. We've got an agreement verbally in place with them for lower securities than what is normally requested to construct Spence, which allows us to use the cash flow we have and push forward faster.
Okay, so our timelines again, just to kind of finish off on this one, what are we thinking for service lots?
Fall of 2022.
Right. So Brett, we'll get those communications to the REOT unit holders for the first right of refusal, and have set up that system so they can consider that. So take a close look, folks. If you're on this, of course, we'll be circulating this to everybody. There are over 300 unit holders in this trust, so we'll be circulating it out. And if it's a market that you're interested in, Brett's got the expertise to have that conversation with you, certainly. And if it's a finished home that you're looking for, then of course you can speak with Brett and his team on that as well. I had a note on this slide and I forget what it was now. Sorry. I guess oh no, sorry, it wasn't a note for the slide. Pardon me. I just opened up the chat. I opened up the chat screen. So just so the chat questions. So Brett, Randy, maybe just monitor those chat questions. I see one already up on there.
The corner lots have a little bit of extra width to them. They're 18-meter lots. The majority of them are 15-meter frontages with the depth of about 33 meters.
And a bit of green space behind them too, right?
And most people speak in feet. So as you can see on lot 1, you're 60 by 100, and the adjoining lots are 50 by 100. The nice one about lot 1, it actually backs on to the stormwater management pond.
Yeah. So folks, if you have questions, put them in the chat. We won't answer them all when we go along, but we'll try and monitor as we go along. And then I'll have maybe Mary can put the link up to the portal. So when this material gets back onto the portal and you're looking to review this video, you're looking to review the material, you can go onto the portal. And of course, as we've mentioned, you're going to have to watch your email over the next little while. If you're interested in reserving a lot and you're interested in that property, you could buy the whole property if you want. You know, it's first right of refusal. You can buy the whole thing from us. Just got to give us the right dollar amount. But make sure you go through the portal, get those questions, use Mary to triage if you want to be able to figure out who you need to talk to. And you're always welcome to reach out directly to Brett as well on these materials. So I'm just going to move on down to our next property, LP number 2 in Ingersoll. So Ingersoll's well in progress. Randy, do you want to start, or you with me, Brett? Which one want to take that?
Mine's short. We're sold out. So then I'll pass it on to Randy.
As we carry on through construction, we do have 2 homeowners now living in completed houses, as well as our model house being completed at lot 16. Lot 12 is closing later this month. So we'll have 4 completed by the end of February of 2022. We are now proceeding with 2 at a time. We were doing a 1 at a time excavation and footings and foundation, etc. Now we've ramped things up. We brought a few extra guys in so that we can work on foundations and framing at the same time and start plowing through these a little bit quicker. We do have permits in place for several other units as well, with all permit applications in to the municipality. Just awaiting a couple final documents for those final few permits for the last couple builds.
Now, we talked about this in back in the fall, like our lumber prices were out of control, construction costs were all heading up. Of course, our prices, we held back on phase 2 because prices were going up, and we really pushed hard to make sure that we could capture some of those higher prices. Now, how are we doing with, I know, just, this is a preface for unit holders. Absolutely. If you're wondering if the construction prices affect our bottom line in this project, 100%. Those first few houses, it really hurt. The timing was not great for us because we had sold the houses, very exciting to sell them, but then prices, of course, while we were constructing, just went through the roof. But our last set of houses, which we haven't started to construct, we've got a much better balance in there. And I don't know, Randy, you want to make a comment on how you feel those construction prices?
Yeah, things have leveled out a little bit better. Lumber prices have come down significantly from what they were last summer, which is very helpful. We did make a few changes to our wall construction methods while keeping with the net zero aspect of them. We've gone to some more appropriate materials price-wise that have allowed us to add a little bit more to the bottom line, as well as our sales team with Brett and the rest doing a great job selling the last couple houses at a much higher price. So the bottom line on those last few houses is going to be significantly better than the previous ones.
And just to give perspective, Brett, maybe just kind of give us a quick summary. Like we started in 650 range on a low end, 600 in our low end, and by the time we finished, we were over what, $1.2 million?
So lot 10 as an example, that'll be our largest home that we can put on the site. That's our Dawn model. It's a 4-bedroom with full net zero, so it's going to include a solar array as well as finished basement. And we ended up selling it to close in October, I believe, and it's maybe November, sorry. And it ended up selling at 126, so $1,260,000. Our model that we had originally projected out with all the little add-ons that we had put with the finished basement, and again, it's got the solar as well. We had originally projected it at 750. It sold in multiple offers at 919.
Yeah, so big spread. Obviously, again, reminding everybody that the costs did rise significantly. COVID created delays, so we'll get to flush out the final numbers, but there will be some distributions back to unit holders at the end of this quarter. And now that we started to, as Randy pointed out, people have turned the key and taken ownership. So just a kind of reminder of the way that this distributions work, I'll use this as the example, is, one house sells in Ingersoll and closes. Once it closes, we then give title of that property to another person, not obviously the trust anymore. So we have to account for that capital, that's the percentage of capital to that one house, and return that to the trust. And then subsequently, of course, the trust returns it to unit holders. So when we sell properties, we have one quarter to kind of work the numbers out, finish off anything, do settlements, everything else. And at the end of the quarter, we would transfer that proportionate amount from the sale of a property or two properties, three properties to the trust. And then the trust will do a distribution at the end of the quarter that we're working in. So the one example I know has been asked before, if we sell a house in say March, we're not able to settle it in that quarter. So we have till the end of the following quarter to do that. So just to kind of mark, I guess, if you're trying to pencil it out for yourselves, that's the general flow. And then, of course, we're going to talk about Godrich as well, which has been completely sold, but there is a 1 year VTB on it that we'll discuss in the next. John, I'm going to bring up Hamilton. I think we've got everything on Ingersoll all wrapped up here. If you have any more questions, again, put them on the chat screen. Get them over to Mary, and Mary will make sure they get to the right person. But we'll bring John on to speak to the Hamilton property.
So with Hamilton, we're still on track to have it rezoned by the summer of this year. The application went in October, November last year. There have been some delays with the urban design team. We've had meetings with the councillor, the ward councillor, and he's in full support for this site. And the planning team now working through the urban designs with more feedbacks. And once we have those, we will be ready to really qualify for the rezoning. We don't foresee any other issues. So the plan is for this summer, we should have the site fully rezoned to what we need.
I think the obvious excitement that is with the Hamilton property, not only is a spectacular property, beautiful building that's proposed to go up there, beautiful view of Toronto, and our drone footage, by the way, I think they should be all on the portal. So if you haven't seen the drone footage of the actual property and you're not from the area, certainly go check those out so you can kind of get a bird's eye view of it. But I think it's the line on the screen right now that says, townhouses in that market on the waterfront are basically at $2 million now. And when we did our pro formas, I almost forget now exactly what was the high number on our pro forma. I think we were at 800,000 or 900,000 when we first started looking at this with 14 units.
Back on, it says, and we're back recording. Excellent.
You're on mute, Doug, just FYI.
There you guys are. As I was saying, we have a disproportionate number of technical problems in Waterloo for a town that's got all technology around us. So I just got to check out. It looks like our participants are still there. Everybody's back on. I think we're okay. So it was just, I guess, on my end. And I'll have to share my screen again. I guess it's dropped off there. Sorry, John.
I'm going to move on to Goddard in your absence, but.
Oh, okay. Well, I just said, did we make a comment there? I was talking about the price point. Did you comment on that, or Brett, did you comment on the price point?
Not yet, but the prices are increasing substantially, especially on waterfront properties in Hamilton. So there is units being sold or being built for, I think they're planning on selling for $3 million for a 2,000 square foot detached home. 2 blocks down.
Yeah.
The site.
Yeah, it's incredible there. So, all right, apologize for that.
Talk a bit about the drawings that you see.
Yeah.
They're all 2,000 square foot, 2 bedroom with a 3rd bedroom available. So our price estimates are certainly in that $2 to $2.2 million range as well.
Yeah, for anybody who hasn't looked closely at the renderings that we put up and or maybe check them out in other locations, or if you need to see more, just let us know. We really love this. We all love this building. You picture that 3rd story about rooftop terrace looking at Toronto. You could have your entertaining up there. You could just be sitting up there with a great view. And then of course the multiple decks that come off the back. And it doesn't do it justice when you're looking at the back of the building. It's a beautiful rendering of the back of the building, but what you really want to be doing is standing in the unit, looking back out of that water and how it sits there. But again, that's we have to paint that picture. We want to build the building. We want to do that, but at the same time, we want to exit at whatever the top dollar value and top rate of return we can get on the projects. As everybody knows, we have a three-point exit strategy We're going to either exit by selling everything off. We're going to exit by, by hybriding it, building some and selling some, or we're going to exit by selling the entire property. And with that, we're going to go off to Goderich, because Goderich, the right price came along, and we did just that. We sold the entire property. So go ahead, Randy or Brett.
To start with, very, very proud of what we've done in Goderich there. We got it through the planning application in what I would almost consider record time, having it severed within just a couple months of purchasing the property. Everything from timelines for construction hit as well. We had it serviced by the middle of November and ready to advertise for sale. And we came in right on budget as well, as far as servicing cost goes.
Yeah, so this is a great case. Now, the structure of this deal, just so everybody's aware, we have sold the property. We have closed on it. We've taken capital in, which will be part of a distribution for the end of this quarter, which will be back to the trust, and then, of course, subsequently back to the unit holders. However, the deal for the property did include a vendor take back. So we still have a vendor take back on the property, which means two things. We will collect the rest of the capital from the purchaser, which is Magnificent Homes out of London, Ontario, as they sell off the homes. And we suspect they're going to do that at a fairly quick pace, between now and the end of the year. However, if they don't sell off the homes and don't return our capital by the end of the year, we have rights to take the property back. So we still have our security in place and registered with the vendor take back, and maybe
in January of 2023. But as the buyer, who is also a builder, sells homes in that area, we're going to basically receive 1/14 of the vendor take back on each sale that they have. So our expectation is that they're going to have closing start sometime in August or September of this year. And as those closings progress, we'll receive 1/14 and be able to return capital as such. But it certainly decrease the amount of risk that the fund holds, because we know what the sale price is. We don't have to worry about building costs or anything along that line in that area, and it allowed us to return some capital back to our unit holders.
Yeah, I apologize again. I seem to be having just a ridiculous amount of technical issues. I'm back. Thank you, Brett, for carrying that for us. And just want to remind everyone too,
Randy, if you want to get into some of the costs, but we basically paid, we had a question come in, and we basically paid less than $1 million for the property. And then with the cost of service and that sort of stuff, we made about a 50% rate of return on it. Gross
return was hitting our 50% mark inside of 1 year. And that's one of our triggers to make a decision. Thanks for taking that question, Brett. The one point I want to bring up to people and just remind them, because we're going to wrap it up here and we'll take more questions if they're there. But we have that first right of refusal. So we did have people who were interested in purchasing townhouses in Goderich. It's a great market. It's one of my favorite markets. I do a lot of stuff between the corridor between here and Goderich. And Magnificent Homes is still going to build a well-appointed townhouse similar to exactly what we had presented. I should say exactly, it's similar, but it's similar to what we presented. So if you still have interest as a unit holder, you can still go through Brett and go through Mary to get connected to Magnificent Homes. And those people who showed interest before certainly are on a list that I believe Magnificent Homes is reaching out to. Is that correct, Brett?
And that was one of the negotiating points, was that they would continue to honor the reservations that we took for our unit holders initially, and they're doing so.
And to further on Doug's comment about building similar, they actually are working with our architect. They may make some minor changes, but they really liked what we had designed and have taken him on to finish the work for them.
Oh, that's great. Excellent. All right, so that's the property. That's the updates. I'm not sure, any guys, if there's any other things that we missed. I certainly missed a few minutes here and there because of my connections. I don't see any other questions coming to you in the chat screen. We can give it another minute. It's been about 30 minutes, and that's really what we want. And again, this video will be packaged up. Oh, sorry.
Yep, I think the one question that you missed, Doug, was will distribution start at the end of Q1 or at the end of Q2 in 2022 from Jeff May?
Distribution start at the end of 2021. Sorry, Q1. So we have part lot sold in 2021. That'll be into Q1 2022 now. And then we have the property of Goderich, the capital we took on the close of Goderich. So all of those Goderich proceeds and the proceeds from the property sold in December, I think it was December, will go in and then will be distributed out by the end of this quarter. So that's March 31st this year. Projected rate of return for the duration of the SG REOT.
Just more in depth.
Yeah, we're calculating right now, like on our Goderich property, as has been already stated, we use a 50% gross every time we calculate on a property. So with any property, we would look at the property and say, okay, we're going to pay $2 million this property. We want to have everything completed in 2 years. That means we have to sell the property for $4 million minimum. And that gives us a 100% return, 50% annualized gross return. And then we split those returns with our investors. So we hit a 50% gross return. Our return to investors is at our target return of 20%. So I hope that helps with that side. For what's going on with Ingersoll, I think, and I have to go back to some of our reports, but we're still in the middle. Now that we started to close the houses, still in the middle of tying these off. There's still some carrying costs and attribution costs that go to those properties. The first few houses are not returning a profit, like they're really tight. And then the last houses that will close will significantly change that. But I think we're going to probably be with Ingersoll, and I don't want to be locking myself in, so I'm going to keep saying I'm just going to estimate here, but I'm looking around 13 to 15% return to investors is what I believe Ingersoll will hit. There's a couple of factors here, of course, duration being the biggest one, and that is tied to availability of trades, availability of construction, and low prices on or construction costs being held. So if we end up at the end of this year and everything's sold off and closed, starting to be transferred, and we've managed to maintain our lower costs, then I think we're going to hit in that range. So it's a little bit lower than our 20% expected, but that's about where we're at. Sorry, apparently I'm froze again.
Position. So we just want to make sure the quarter ends and we're able to return that capital.
Yes, and to speak specifically to Claudette's question, the return of capital comes in conjunction with closings on the property, not necessarily when the sale takes place. So we had their first closing in November of 2021, which is Q4. Although the sales took place far earlier, it isn't until it actually closes that capital is triggered.
Thanks again, guys, for carrying that on. I'm going to guess that at this point, I don't know if we see any more questions. I think we can wrap it up. Good to go. So thank you, guys. Thanks for joining me. Obviously, from our end, and thank you, the unit holders, everybody to join us, and some of our stakeholders are on the call. Thanks for all the questions. We look forward to coming back and having a conversation with everybody. I think in April, I think is our next date we've got. So April 26th, it'll be, if nothing else, it'll be our draft financials for AGM. We may not have our final financials. Our audits tend to take a little bit longer than usual, but April 22nd, mark it in your calendar, will be noon again, and we'll send the material and links out by email. So thank you again, and take care. Bye for now.
Okay, bye.
Thanks, everyone.